This old carcass wears more than one hat. Okay, the accounting or the mental math of your build so that you can get an idea of, I'd rather have this, but what is my savings or what is my cost? Overrun, underrun. All these decisions come into play. It may be that your timing is such that overall you're going to spend more money, but that might be the best solution for you. Okay, let's get into the mental math of working out maybe a 5-meter wall. Let's talk about a number of vloggers out there who have done builds. Uh, Sunshine Shoulders built a 50 square meter home, uh, pretty basic square box, small lot, that type of thing. Great. Remember, I, everybody has a home involved here, guys, and this is the key about going to the Philippines. You're gonna build a home, right? I don't care what it is. One of the vloggers I followed had a dirt floor for a longest time. So uh, Calvin at Sunshine Shoulders, million pesos for 50 square meters, but a more traditional build. Doing the mental math on that, I still feel that we came in at that 20% cheaper than he did for a build that we did that was about 100 square meters altogether and came in at 1.2. Now, we don't have a finished CR yet and we don't have a finished kitchen, so that balance is there. But it's just too bad he didn't break down the cost of his putting up a wall and stuff. So where can we go from there? Well, I can only rely on what others have said out there, and most of them are Philippine architect types or engineers that determine that it's about 20% cheaper. And so then what we did was we had to get a CR in quickly. We didn't have any AAC on site, and we needed that washroom yesterday. So we put this hollow block washroom up on our garage, and lo and behold, I could use that math against a house segment and see how did it work out. And yes, ours came in at 18% cheaper, guys. 18%. Now, we didn't finish the hollow block to anywhere near the same level that we did the AAC, okay? The other cross comparison when you're doing mental math is how do you compare a build like the Armstrong family? They're doing 2 builds now, right? One has some AAC, one's a 2-story, one's a 1-story. One did polished concrete instead of tiles. I mean, how do you do the mental math on that? Pretty difficult. The other part of the mental math that's difficult with his build, he's bought power trowels. He's bought diggers to dig. He's done all of this kind of thing that makes it very, very difficult to use his project as a comparison. But now that he's, bought a 3rd lot and he'll build a 3rd house and maybe he'll do even more after this, obviously these tools are going to be able to be used in other projects. And that's what you would do if you're going to do multiple projects. Myself, we're going to do multiple projects, but we're still going to keep it simple, stupid. And, if we get this lot in June, we have a tentative offer in, the guy wants more money, we made an offer that's lower, And there's a whole other set of dynamics that I'm not going to get into. They're quite personal, but we have to wait till June. We're not in country, but we do have a thing called an SPA in place, which allows this process to complete while we're not there. We had to sign the SPA or the power of attorney before we left. So doing the mental math is not always easy. Another one I really want to get into because it's so much out the other end of the spectrum here, and that's Texas Filipino. Loved his build. Wonderful build. Full concrete pour though, guys. Okay? Use things like Ready Rod, which are those rods that I showed you that we use to bind our AAC together for the lentils. They call it all thread in Texas. A lot of these things have different terms, right? But in his case, I looked at it and I went, okay, Two guys, one mixing, one putting up. The guy's a seasoned AACer now. How much can he get done? And just over a day, so we'll call it a day. Just over a day, because we were only getting our guys to work 8 hours. They could get a full wall in, okay? Not finished, just the AAC portion mounted. But then I sat and I went back and watched the videos that I saved from Texas Filipino. He has a part 1 and part 2, and one where he explains how he was going to hold his walls together with some orange electrical pipe cut to a specific length and use the all thread or ready rod to pull it together to have a uniform wall all the way up and down. But I sat there watching his video and I'm thinking to myself, could two guys get all of the phenolic up, or gator board, whatever you want to call it, could they get all of that up? Don't include the electrical, okay? Just assume it's a blank wall with no electrical, because, you know, we had electrical involved in ours too. Could he get that whole wall up and then take the concrete and rebar and offset it against our AAC? Well, we already know from hollow block that the concrete and rebar versus AAC, the AAC is 20% cheaper. So the kicker was, could he get his whole wall up and braced in a day? There's no way, guys. Now, again, we've all got different builds for different reasons, okay? He's gonna take any storm straight on. Our leeward winds are gonna come from behind us. So, because we're on the west shore, we have a mountain. God, we've got mountains in BC here. We've got a hill behind us. But keep that in mind when you're doing your build. When you're doing the mental math and you're comparing a project and trying to work yours out, pretty difficult to do. Now I'm sitting there doing my editing and I forgot to include the AAC tip-up walls. Now, I've not really run into any videos online that I could cite, but what I do have from Ernest, and if I read this chart correctly, the tip-up wall system, it also adds another 20% savings. Now, Ernest, call me out if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I read those charts, that I can tip more than one wall up in a day, a 5-meter long wall. I could tip up more than one wall a day with equivalent to two guys. I'd be interested to know that one. Anyway, we're looking forward to Ernest's build, and let's see how that math works out. But have some fun with it. That's the key. Limit your negative memories. That's the key. Later, Gators.